Honey, how come you don't bake for breakfast anymore?
I never baked for breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. I'm confusing you with my mother.
Didn't your therapist warn you about that?
Jeez. I'd kill for cinnamon bread or
Streusel?
oh, Betty Crocker makes cereal.
It's for people like you who crave home-baked taste and wives like me who leave it to Betty.
Brown sugar, cinnamon, icing swirls.
And it's low in fat. Was your mother's?
Nothing my mother made was low in fat, except for me.
New Betty Crocker cereals, home-baked taste by the spoonful.
Barbie feeding fun stable, now Nibbles feels right at home. Wow! With a hay drop here and a water pump there. Load the grain in the spout, open the door, let it out. Cool! Have a drink here, and a snack there. Here a door, there a door. Everywhere there's fun and more. Barbie feeding fun stable, where Nibbles feels right at home.
Nibbles, Horse, and the Feeding Fun Stable each sold separately. Parents put stable together. Barbie doll and cereal not included.
This weekend, it's finally here. Ooh, ABC's Funny Videos Fest 96. We've got America's Funniest Home Videos Saturday at 8/7 Central and Sunday at 7/6 Central. 2 great nights, 2 hilarious hours, too much fun to miss. You'll laugh till it hurts. Funny Videos Fest 96, ABC this weekend.
Fisher-Price presents The Great Adventures Castle, where imagination is king.
Uh-oh, the army of giants. Prepare the castle!
Ready? Fire!
Now take that. And that.
I hate when that happens.
Attack!
Look out below.
The adventure never ends at The Great Adventures Castle from Fisher-Price.
Now, can I be the good guys?
No way.
Hey, cookies. Say, you know, I think our neighbor might like one too. Yeah, well.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Terrific. Excellent.
Got milk? Bill Murray has one problem.
I don't want it.
And he's got to take it 3,000 miles.
Okay, honey, where's the stairs? Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
In 5 days.
I can't drive this!
Larger than life. Rated PG. Starts November 1st.
It starts with a full quarter-pound of beef, with fresh toppings, our chef sauce, on a bakery soft roll. McDonald's Arch Deluxe. If it were any more grown up, we'd need to check your ID. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
ABC Next, it's a monster night of TGIF. It's like a totally freaky Clueless.
That's a slamming costume. I thought you was Big Bird.
Clueless, ABC Next.
A man's dedication to career
Your father's packing his stuff. His flight's tomorrow.
tears his family apart.
You are leaving your son.
Don't have any other option.
But despite the pain,
Can you just talk to me?
I can't forgive him for being who he is.
a son struggles to keep the hope alive.
I'm not gonna just walk away.
All New Relativity, Saturday.
Nobody likes being in the dark. Yeah, no one can be scary, especially when it comes to fixing your brakes. At Midas, everything's out in the open, right there for you to see. They even wrote a book on it, a system for working on your car. For example, every Midas brake job starts with a written 45-point inspection. They'll show you the work, explain your repair options, and let you decide what gets done. It's the Midas way, the system that works. So you get it done right, buy the book, and guaranteed. Midas Auto Systems experts, what can we do for you today?
Nicole is a high school junior with short brown hair. She has smoked marijuana since she was 13. She told the New York Times, "Look at Bill Clinton. He smoked marijuana and became president. He said that if he tried it again, he'd inhale."
If you had it to do over again, would you inhale?
Sure, if I could. I tried before.
Before you vote, remember, our children have to live with the president we give them.
I'm Ron Lewis, and this is my friend Cooper. My opponent thinks this election is about scaring seniors, distorting my record, and Newt Gingrich. I think it's about Cooper. That's why I'm fighting for a balanced budget so he's not left with crushing taxes to pay off the debt, for good schools and safe neighborhoods, for a Medicare fund that will be there for him. You see, this campaign isn't about the next election, but the next generation, and that's Cooper's. I'd appreciate your vote.
Ron Lewis for Congress. Hometown television is WVKO 13.
Your hair has a dream that it will be rescued from a dull existence, that it will be healthy, radiant, strong, that all this will be possible. It is with Pantene Pro V. The Pro Vitamin formula breathes new life into your hair, day by day, improving each strand, awakening healthier, shinier, strong hair. Pantene Pro V, for hair so healthy it shines. Because your hair has a dream.
Got a suitcase full of fun and they call it construction. I can make a submarine,
Change it into a robot.
build a helicopter,
Turn it into a big truck.
take apart the truck and make a rocket. Whoa!
Take the rocket apart and drive a moon buggy home.
I can build a guitar or a starship too.
Take it apart and build something new.
With Constructs Deluxe. A Constructs Deluxe Builder built 50 toys only from Mattel.
I couldn't sleep at all last night. Just thinking of you. Baby, things weren't right. When I was tossing and turning all night.
The toys are back in town, back in action, and coming to your home. You can hang with Woody, Buzz, Slinky, Bo, and Potato Head.
It's Mr. Potato Head to you.
Disney's Toy Story on video, rated G. The wait is over November 3rd.
Oh, I just can't wait
For the first time on network television,
to be king.
The Lion King, 1 week from Sunday on ABC.
I'm so excited about this Halloween bash. My magic's a little off tonight. Hey, there's Sheriff Clueless. I think I'll surprise her with a makeover. She looks great in pink. That was waste, Corbin. Sorry, I was wrong. Pink's not your color. Clueless is next. We'll have a bash.
Hi, I'd like to take half a minute to talk to you about the true meaning of Halloween. It's not about candy and costumes. It's about family and showing them how much you care. So don't buy into the hype and commercialization of the season. This Halloween, stay home with your loved ones. Just gather around the jack-o'-lantern and remember, the true meaning of Halloween is inside you. Right, Salem?
There's a pound of candy corn inside me.
Ignore him. Happy Halloween.
ABC's Halloween Bash continues with Clueless right now.
Clueless, brought to you by new Betty Crocker cereals. Home-baked taste by the spoonful.
Honey, how come you don't bake for breakfast anymore?
I never baked for breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. I'm confusing you with my mother.
Didn't your therapist warn you about that?
Jeez, I'd kill for cinnamon bread or
streusel.
Oh, Betty Crocker makes cereal.
It's for people like you who crave home-baked taste and wives like me who leave it to Betty.
Brown sugar, cinnamon, icing swirls.
Then it's low in fat. Was your mother's?
Nothing my mother made was low in fat, except for me.
New Betty Crocker cereals, home-baked taste by the spoonful.
I couldn't sleep at all last night. Just thinking of you. Baby, things weren't right. When I was tossing and turning all night.
Sunday, the biggest mistake of Lois Lane's life.
I think you better come with us.
A special all-new Lois and Clark, ABC Sunday.
We're talking
Bras that don't pine.
We're talking
Pantyhose that don't pinch.
We're talking just my size. We're talking thick.
Nothing fits and flatters full-figured women better than Just My Size. The only brand of casual wear, socks, bras, panties, and pantyhose designed exclusively for you. Call 1-888-JMS-FITS and we'll tell you more.
Something sexy.
Just my size. We're talking thick.
Welcome, everyone. Ooh. I hope everybody's doing well today. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week so far. Yeah, I don't really have anything real pressing to discuss today. I just wanted to hang out with you guys a little bit. Just you know, if you didn't have anything better to do, you know, just kick it with me a little bit. There's a couple of things though that I did want to go over. I was now the description for this channel is in the chat, and a lot of you already know who this channel is, called the Young Jurks. And I think they're Canton locals, or at least the owner of the channel probably is. Seems like it, maybe. I don't know. But yesterday they played the select board hearing, and I was watching that, and I was just really just blown away. If I'm being completely honest, I was just absolutely floored by how affected that community is by this case. And you know, all of the moving parts in the case and around the case, and it was just really impressive. It's really impressive. It was sad to see, but at the same time, it was inspiring and uplifting. Now I'm going to play some of it, but I'm not going to play the whole thing. I mean, it's just a long, ridiculous, it's not ridiculous, but but I really want to just go over the people who had time to speak. And yes, I'm hearing that there is an active shooter. We'll drop in and check on that once in a while and see how that's going and what's going on with that. Let me go ahead and cue this up, and then I'll look into that on a side note here. It's just unbelievable.
Totally fine. Thank you so much.
Yep. We'll keep announcing.
I mean, look at all
when
these
the times
people
are
here.
so that you can.
Meeting is not meant to be a dialogue. The public comment portion of the meeting is limited to 15 minutes total, and each speaker is allotted 3 minutes.
Now, the Young Jurks channel link is in the description. So make sure if you're not subscribed to them, subscribe to them. They're a great channel. So yeah, make sure you do that. But this is theirs because you'll see some comments at the bottom of the screen and whatnot. Those are not me highlighting your comments. That's Young Jurks highlighting their chat's comments. Kelsey 206, welcome. Thank you so much. The hoity goity. All right.
I would encourage those that do wish to speak to be mindful of others in the room who would do the same, so we can make the most of the time allotted and hear from as many people as possible. Anyone who does not wish to speak or who is unable to due to time may submit their comments in writing for the board's review and consideration. Thank you. Mr. Kamal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was struck by Mr. Duty's comments. There's certain things he can't do. And in fact, he also can't put me on the agenda after the agenda has closed. So I'm using this opportunity to bring some news to the select board from the Polar Bear Heritage site.
Now that's a hell of a site there. These are all, you know, these are all concerned citizens of Canton. You know, these are all people whose community they feel have been affected extremely negatively. And when what they did was they filed somebody organized a petition to have this meeting and have an audit on the police and on possibly even the select board themselves. I'm not sure exactly what the petition was for, but this is the workings, the in and out workings of democracy here. This is a beautiful thing to witness. And in the very birthplace where you know, John Adams defended, I mean, we're talking about right where John Adams defended British soldiers in what was known as the Boston Massacre. And his entire attitude was, it doesn't matter which side we're on, the law is the law. And in America, you know, in this new land, this new country that we're trying to make here, is justice has to be blind. So, you know, it's to see that resonate so many years later, and to see what kind of impact that had on those locals 240 some odd years later. You know, I mean, it's incredibly inspiring.
And that is working with your chairman, Mr. Theodore, beginning in July, we began creating plans for a pavilion that would be on that site. And so I'm bringing notice before the select board tonight, prior to a filing on Friday with the Community Preservation Act for a request to build that pavilion at the Polar Bear Heritage Site. I'll just be quickly, because I don't want to cut other people's time, but just let you know that our request will be for $200,000. This is on land that the select board controls, so I felt it incumbent upon us to let you know before we filed that paperwork, and would come back at your very next meeting in the hopes that you'll support that in a more public fashion. But again, in the spirit of just communication, letting you know, that money will be matched for an additional $50,000, which we already have in ARPA funds, so that this project, if approved at the next annual town meeting, would move forward into construction beginning in July of 2024. So it's a very quick shovel to the ground project. Looks like a really nice project. It will create a 2,400 square foot pavilion on the site of the former barn. There's a small space there that was a foundation that's in the ground to demarcate.
I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with the case, but I'm just going to let it play.
Now, as you know, this is a continued development.
I'm just going to let it play until we start getting to some of the stuff in regards to the case. And, you know, we're going to watch something after this that is, it's going to provide some contrast. Okay. Just bear with me here, folks. But I do have something I'm going to play in contrast to this, which I think is very a bit humorous.
Hi there, Katie Clark, 5 Homans Lane, and I just had a nice conversation with Mr. Conley and Mr. McCord at your office hours last week, and one of the issues that we discussed was the fact that citizens who have been coming and speaking frequently at the select board meetings have received anonymous threatening letters with regard to their appearing here. And I was very disappointed and angry to hear about that. And we discussed this, and I had asked if at this select board meeting, I was hoping you would make a statement saying that you were not in favor of bullying of any kind, whether they're citizens attending these meetings or any other citizen activity in town. And I'm disappointed that there was not, any mention of that this evening.
Mr. White.
James White.
And see, that's the fascinating part, is they didn't even address this shit, right? They didn't even address this shit. But all of those people are there for that reason, which should tell you how much this select board seems to be really, as it shows how much they actually are for the people, because those are the people right there. Okay, Those are the people there for that meeting. And this is what they're thinking about. And this is what they're talking about. They're getting death threats. These people are getting death threats over this meeting. Over signing a petition that the city should do better. Simple. I mean, and it's you're looking at it with your own eyes. These people simply just don't care. I mean, these people do. I'm saying the people sitting up on those panels in that panel, they don't care. I'm not getting any impression that they care. So, I mean, I don't know if it's corruption, but it's definitely neglect. It's definitely negligence, laziness, complacency. It's what it definitely looks like. Yeah, I mean, it can't be a coincidence that Chicken Palm Charlie is on the board. It should not. I mean, it can't be a coincidence.
Former resident, 47 Will Drive. So I'm going to read off of a letter that was sent by former resident Sean McDonough, retired DEA agent to Chief Rafferty several months ago. And these are questions regarding policies and procedures that he had to the chief for the John O'Keefe investigation. First was, what was the policy in effect when your officers were dispatched to the scene where John O'Keefe was found? Were they supposed to cease and desist their investigative actions when it was appeared John was dead? I imagine you have to pass something like this over the state police.
Okay, now real quick, let me address, I hate interrupting that gentleman, but I mean, and I see this, there's somebody back there holding a sign. There's people saying in a chat that Chris Albert killed a guy. Chicken Palm Charlie killed a guy, right? I mean, regardless if there's, even if there's any question as to the nature, as to the story behind it, even if there's any question about it, doesn't that automatically just make you like a political leper? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't that automatically make you just not even eligible? I mean, legally eligible, but people aren't going to vote for you, and people aren't going to, I mean, it's just a bad look. It's a bad look to have somebody who killed somebody, and there are questions of whether or not he should have done more time for it. I mean, dude, like a felon can't even get a job at fucking Domino's, but they can get a job on the select board. They can get a spot. I mean, what? That doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he and they appointed him special advisor to the. Is that true? Special advisor to the transportation department. So the guy kills somebody over a DUI, right? Through a DUI, he kills somebody, and and then they appoint him advisor. Wow, unbelievable.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a
Kelsey 206. Thank you so much. Let's see. Sorry, off topic, but is your oi cunt clip from The Boys? Just started watching it and I was like, wait a minute. Yes, it is. Yes, it's from the show The Boys. Yes. good eye. And thank you so much, Kelsey 206. The Boys is an awesome show. Amazing. And I realize I see some of the consensus about my Ryan Cuckchurch super chat dance song. And I considered not doing it anymore. But the thing is there's like, it seems to be even. Like some people like it, some people don't. So I guess it stays for now. But sorry if you don't like it. Just don't give me money. Or you could always use one of the links that Cherry's dropping if you want to support the channel, but don't want to hear that song and the dance.
Secondly, are your officers trained in basic crime scene management? Do they recognize the significance of preserving a crime scene? 3, did any of your detectives respond? John was not immediately pronounced dead at the scene, and there was evidence of a brutal assault.
I'm going to start this, guys. I'm going to start this guy over.
A crime, John Worth versus Ed. And these are questions regarding policies and procedures that he had to the chief for the John O'Keefe investigation. First was, what was the policy and effect when your officers were dispatched to the scene where John O'Keefe was found? Were they supposed to cease and desist their investigative actions when it was appeared John was dead? I imagine you have to pass something like this over the state police. Secondly, are your officers trained in basic crime scene management? Do they recognize the significance of preserving a crime scene?
Right.
3,
great questions.
did any of your detectives respond? John was not immediately pronounced dead at the scene, and there was evidence of a brutal assault. Was the Canton Police Department ever going to investigate this incident had John lived? Or is it policy to hand all major crimes over to the state police? Why were there 3 civilian females found at the scene not brought to the station immediately for questioning, or at least held until the Mass State Police or your detectives were formally interviewed?
This guy's killing it right now.
Who gave the order not to search primary residence of Brian Albert?
Great question.
Officers knew that 6 hours earlier, a party was held there and that John and Karen were both invited guests. Along with Jen McCabe, why didn't your officers explore this? And who directed the off-duty supervisor to be the only Canton Police Department official to talk with Albert that morning? What was discussed and what superior, a friend of the Albert's family, was that superior friend of the Albert's family? 6, your officers had found John with a lot of trauma, a huge gash on the back of his head. There had to be blood everywhere. One of your officers saw fit to collect blood samples. Was the scene completely photographed? And was the blood found at the scene commensurate with the injuries found on John? If not, why didn't your officers think to look for blood inside the residence where John had been invited? Also, your officers at the time did not know John had not worn a coat that evening. Didn't it seem strange to your officers that John had no coat on? Why didn't they think to look for his coat inside the residence? And it was bitter cold.
Well, he wasn't wearing a coat on the camera footage. See, I'm stuck on that myself, but I did see the camera footage of when he was in one of the bars with Karen, and he was not wearing a coat. He was wearing a what seemed to be a very light hoodie, long sleeve hoodie shirt. I wouldn't even call it a sweater. Yeah, so it's quite possible he wasn't wearing a coat, which I find hard to believe simply because it's Boston. It's January. You know, it's cold. There was a snowstorm that came later, you know? I mean, it was cold. So I find it interesting that he didn't have a coat on. But the thing is, though, I'm wondering if John O'Keefe brought a coat with him and maybe he just didn't think to put it on to go from his car to, and he took it off while he was in the car because the heat was on, maybe in the SUV, in Karen's SUV. So maybe he just brought his coat with him. But if it wasn't found in the SUV and there was a coat, well, then he had to have taken it into the house. But there's no evidence that there ever was a coat, is my point. So to me, it's where I'm at in the case, and a lot of you aren't going to like this, but where I'm at in the case, the coat is not very relevant. Whether or not he had a coat on is not very relevant, simply because we saw video footage. We saw video footage of him in no coat. So I'm willing to absolutely entertain the likelihood that he had no coat on at any point in the night. So that's just where I'm at. Right. And coats get in the way at the bar. Right. I don't like wearing my coat at the bar. Like, I always end up taking it off and asking the bartender to hold it for me. Like, I can't stand it. But I mean, I haven't been to a bar in like, Jesus Christ, I want to say like 7 years. It's been so long.
McCabe tell your officers he wasn't inside the house? And if so, why was she given authority to leave the investigation?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. White. Miss Howley. She was in line.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't see up there. You.
Kathleen Howley, 43 Sherman Avenue. I timed it. It's less than 3 minutes, and I'm going to be talking faster now. I was going to talk about bond ratings. As I hope you know, they're the town's credit score. This past January, we got a AAA rating, the best possible score. I'm assuming we'll be seeking another bond issuance soon, which will involve a new rating, especially as we're planning to build a new middle school. Every parent in town is interested and excited about that project, and every homeowner is as well, because schools support all of our property values. A lot has happened in Canton since January. We now have a member of the select board who doesn't pay his taxes and has a 2-decade record of being sued for not paying his bills. He just got a brand.
Okay. That's a great perspective as well. Thank you, Greg Tilley. See, this is what I love about having a chat. This is an excellent perspective that I just refuse to overlook, because this is a great point. Craig Tilley is saying that I'm missing the point. When they found John, they didn't know anything, what he was wearing in the bar. That's absolutely true. Yes, I saw the DMs. Thank you, Cherry. I appreciate it. They don't know. So one perspective is absolutely fair. If that perspective is saying that, why didn't law enforcement find it suspicious that he was laying there with no coat on, and then ask about it and go into the house and ask to look around? I mean, the overall point here is, why wasn't any of this found suspicious to where they asked somebody, hey, listen, just procedure, you know how this works. I just want to go in the house, take a look around, make sure everybody else is okay. That's what you would do. That's what any cop working that scene would do. That's what a patrolman would do. A uni. You know what I'm saying? Not just a detective or an investigator, but a patrolman would absolutely see the situation and go, you mind if I just take a quick look inside the house, make sure everybody's okay? I just want to make sure everybody's okay. That's like 99.999% of the time, that is what a cop would do. And that didn't happen. And the fact that there was a dead cop laying in the front of the property in the snow, like mangled. I mean, this didn't tip a cop off to say, well, why this is really suspicious. We've got a dead officer here. I need to make sure everyone else is okay. If there's a dead cop here, who knows what else is going on inside that house? And yet it didn't even occur to them to do that. And then they put blood samples in a red Solo cup that they got from a neighbor. No crime scene investigative units coming out there immediately. I mean, I'm not an investigator. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of TV, and I've watched a lot of news. I've followed a lot of stories, but I believe that before they even remove the body, they seal off the entire scene. You know what I mean? Like they seal off the entire scene and then investigate, like, very carefully. Crime scene investigators investigate the scene before they even move the body to see what the body may be lying on top of, or what may be on top of the body, or what is closest to the body, things of that nature. I mean, that's just a fraction of the things that they would look for, and just one of the many reasons why they would not move the body before you investigated the scene of the crime. Common sense. So none of this happened. None of this happened.
Brand new state tax lien slapped on him last month for more than $24,000, on top of the more than a dozen state and town tax liens that date back to 2003, and we just put them in charge of the master plan. We just put them on the master planning committee. But the bond raiders will be far more concerned about you four guys, the guys who are too afraid to speak out, to uphold ethical standards, or even to say, yeah, I think you should pay your taxes. Everyone knows you can't force Mr. Albert to resign. Everyone also knows that you have voices that you could use to speak out if you wanted to. We didn't elect a lawyer who's telling you to remain silent. The taxpayers are paying him, but we didn't elect him. The bond guys are the smartest guys on Wall Street.
Nice.
You can find through several easy online searches that Mr. Albert can't be trusted handling a $146 million budget funded with tax dollars. So can they. If we get a downgrade, it could impact those middle school plans. And yes, governance, and that means you guys, the CEOs of the town, is a key reason for downgrading bonds. I spent 15 years covering Wall Street as a journalist for Bloomberg News.
Now, none of these people so far are being disrespectful either. None of them are screaming and yelling. None of them are going, we demand this and we demand that. They're not doing it, even though they're absolutely within their rights to do so. That's what I find fascinating about this too. They're all so desperate to be heard and care so much about these issues that they want to deliver their message without any hiccups, without any distractions, without any excuses as to why they would get cut off. They just simply want to, they're every single person that has gotten up here so far to speak has expressed how they feel in the most respectful and articulate manner. And I think that screams volumes. These are the people who represent the community. Now, the people on the select board, they're supposedly representing the community, but that's not who's representing the community right now. What's representing the community are the community members that are taking their 3 minutes each to speak their opinions. They knew they had 3 minutes, and they did this carefully.
On the bond team, I mostly covered MBS, not munis, but the principles are the same. But something happened yesterday that's more important than bonds. I got a call from a police officer, and I spoke a little bit about this, and I'll cut this part short, who wanted to know the names of people in town who collected signatures for the special town meeting. We needed 200 signatures, and we got 334, I believe it was, to talk about critical issues facing our town that can't wait till next year. The police officer wanted names of the people who collected signatures so he could interrogate them. It was the most un-American question I have ever been asked.
Absolutely.
And no, I did not provide those names. By the way, most of the people collecting signatures have family members in law enforcement.
Let's okay.
By the
Let's
on
let's
account of
let's listen to
bond,
the
downgrading bonds.
most of this again, because this lady is making a very, very serious point here. And this is very important to hear, especially from a member of this community.
I spent 15 years covering Wall Street as a journalist for Bloomberg News on the bond team. I mostly covered MBS, not munis, but the principles are the same. But something happened yesterday that's more important than bonds. I got a call from a police officer, and I spoke a little bit about this, and I'll cut this part short, who wanted to know the names of people in town who collected signatures for the special town meeting. We needed 200 signatures, and we got 334, I believe it was.
Wow.
To talk about critical issues facing our town that can't wait till next year. The police officer wanted names of the people who collected signatures so he could interrogate them.
That is insane. That is insane. So a cop is abusing his power and bullying this community for coming together and collecting signatures, following the most democratic process besides voting that this country has. This, I mean, let's just be honest. That's all this is. People putting together a petition to make changes in their community. Vital changes, by the way. And you have a civil servant, make no fucking mistake about that, a civil servant, someone they pay taxes, their taxes pay for their for the civil servant's salary. So these people are basically going to work every single day, coming home, paying taxes on everything. Big chunk of their paycheck gets yanked out. And that, some of it goes into the pocket of a civil servant that works for them to harass and intimidate them from making changes in their community. That is repulsive.
It was the most un-American question I have ever been asked. And no, I did not provide those names. By the way, most of the people have family members in law enforcement. And then the police officer went to homes to ask him who asked you to sign, et cetera, et cetera. Many of us who pay the bills for the police department believe that we need an independent audit of the Canton Police. And given the extreme conflicts of interest, which I'm happy to quantify for anybody who's interested, family and financial conflicts of interest on the board, if the board appoints it, it is not an independent audit of the Canton Police. People who are doing a good job would welcome that attention so we can all see how they shine.
Absolutely.
It's very clear that the Canton Police Department will do anything, including violating our civil rights, to avoid it and exposing the town to a civil rights lawsuit, which you guys just gave us further exposure by approving him, giving him a promotion.
Thank you. Ms. Lombardi.
Oh, they don't like that.
So I would just like to say, we've been.
That was fantastic. I mean, in a nutshell, that's it. Like we're paying you. You motherfuckers are making money off of us. We pay your paychecks. And so now you've given us further reason to file a civil lawsuit. She's letting them know it's not a threat. It's changes are going to happen one way or the other. That's what this lady's basically telling this select board. These changes that we're demanding are going to happen. Okay? It's either going to happen the right way, where you respect what our wishes are as a community, as a whole, and start making these changes that we need, or we're going to take you to court and make you make those changes. But make no mistake, it's our town. not yours.
Appearing before you for months. We've been trying to work productively with the path forward. The tensions are high in this town. We all know it. And the fact that the board continues not to respond and answer questions is what is causing this to escalate. And it's not what we want. For months, we have been asking for you to bring in a crisis management team. Instead, you sat there in silence. We have asked you to coordinate a meeting with the
As you can see,
police. You sat
Young Jurks is highlighting my comments because I'm in this chat and I'm just loving what I'm seeing. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm disgusted by the fact that they have to do it, but I am so proud and inspired by them that they're doing it because it needs to be done. They're not just taking this shit lying down. And they're literally being threatened. They're getting death threats to not do exactly what they're doing right here.
sat there in silence. So we had to request a special town meeting to get that. When you guys got tired of listening to us, public comments were suspended. Even though several of us met with some of you individually and pleaded with you not to do it because it would escalate matters, you still put a pause on public comments. That wasn't when people showed up at the October 3rd meeting, they were showing up in support of free speech. We did not invite them. They came because they were supporting us in free speech. And I just want to say, I am one of the 4 people, as you know, because the letter was forwarded to you, that received the intimidating letter in the mail. And I'm not going to give that letter any credence.
I want to read this letter.
A few people, clearly. And it had lies in it. And some of the things that were in there, and I want you to know, is that they said to us, you have chosen to insert yourself into an unimaginable situation. Why would any of you want to do this is beyond us. There are just a few facts people eagerly shared. And these were the lies that they told about us and our family. There's a section, I'm not even going to give that any credence because it's made up. Imagine a deep dive. This is to quiet us. Imagine a deep dive of family, friends, extended families, neighbors, and coworkers. We will make sure they know this is curiosity of you. Fact or fiction, it sticks forever on the internet. If you would like a seat on the board, please run for it. Don't try to overthrow an elected official. Shame on you for not showing up after you invited your mob and crazy men. We did not invite anybody. They came on their own. The children and families involved.
Yep. And let me tell you something. Speaking only for myself, after seeing this, I am strongly considering going to Boston myself, going to Canton myself, and supporting not just Karen Reed, but these people. Because this, in a world that we're living in right now, where everything is going to shit, all you see on the news is just shit. And the only breath of fresh air that I'm seeing is this community and how strongly they feel about what they're doing and how composed they're behaving and how nobody's breaking the law. Nobody's intimidating or threatening anybody, but it's happening from their civil servants to them. These people are being bullied by the higher ups in their community, and that shit is not okay. And them standing up for themselves and doing so in the most democratic manner possible is incredibly inspiring. As a patriot, that is inspiring to me. And if I could afford it, That's the only reason I wouldn't be able to do it. But if I could afford it, I will go out there for Karen Reed's trial and stand side by side with those very people. I would absolutely love to do that. But make no mistake, speaking for myself, nobody's asking me to do it. Nobody's saying, come on, come on. Nobody's inviting me. I'm inviting myself. I am making this decision completely on my own without any influence whatsoever, because this is the closest thing to the right thing that I've seen ever doing what I've been doing on YouTube. Because make no mistake, guilty or innocent, Karen Reed, guilty or innocent, not the point. Not the point of why I was inspired to go down here. The point is that these people are demanding better. That is what's really getting me. If it turns out that the prosecution has a strong case against Karen Reed and they manage to prove without a reasonable, beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond it, then so be it. I don't believe it, but so be it. But the fact is I'm not going to feel any less. I'm not going to feel any less inspired or proud of myself for doing that if that turns out to be the case, simply because what it's really about is the process. It's the process. These people are complaining about the process of how someone is charged and tried for a crime, for murder of a police officer. These people seem to be more angry about a police officer's death than the police themselves. That's an issue. That's a serious problem. When you think of it in those terms, that the people of Canton are more upset about the death of a police officer, the murder of a police officer, whether it had been Karen Reed or you know, Brian Albert or Colin Albert or Matt McCabe, whether it be any of those people, it doesn't matter. The point is that the cops didn't do shit to find out who and how this person was actually killed. This officer was actually killed, one of their own. And that is extremely suspicious. And these people simply demand better. There's nothing wrong with that. And that should be supported. That should be supported by everyone. If you live in this country and you enjoy our freedoms, and if you follow true crime and you actually care about due process and how it works, this should affect you. This should bother the fuck out of you, how this case was handled. So for those reasons, simply because I feel affected, even though it's not even my town, but as an American, that is a scary thing. And we should all be demanding better, not just the people of Canton. No matter where you live in this country, that should bother you. That should piss you off.
Get no break and no choice. You had made your choice to enjoy, you had your choice to enjoy your quiet lives. But Rita made it clear she declared war in your name. I never declared war. And then if you think, the people of Canton think you are heroes, think again. The majority is disgusted. People are reaching out to see what they can do to help. People are offering money, campaign help, legal assistance, and group meetings are underway. It's interesting that this author of this letter said the person is offering them campaign help. Can't imagine who would that be.
Ms. Lombardi, that's 3 minutes, miss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lombardi.
So,
Ms. Schuman, absolutely.
Mr. Chair, we have time for one more.
Now she had,
Is it two more? I think so. Peter Henderson.
even though she didn't get to finish what she was saying, she had made her point very clear. I got it. So, I mean, 3 minutes, you get a lot said in 3 minutes, you know?
Ms. Schuman.
Sorry.
My name is Tara Schuman and I live in Canton. I signed the petition for the special town meeting. After I heard about it, I waited weeks, mostly because I was scared to put my name on that piece of paper. It was actually that fear that finally motivated me to do it. I shouldn't be afraid to participate in my local government. I've never done anything without my name attached, so I want to explain why I signed the petition. The amazing thing about democracy is that a balance of power allows for checks and balances. These checks and balances preserve our freedoms and our protection under the law. Our country was founded on the idea that an unchecked power leads to mismanagement, corruption, and oppression. So we hold each other accountable.
Absolutely.
With the petition for the special town meeting, over 300 voters, who I consider our legislative branch, decided to ask questions of the other two branches, namely the select board and our law enforcement. Taxpaying citizens followed procedures and requested to talk. I'm shocked and saddened to hear that peacefully and properly requesting this path in a local democracy has led to further intimidation. I wasn't going to come here tonight. 3 weeks ago, I received the same letter I didn't know was going to be mentioned by others, but I received that letter in the mail, and it accused me, among other painful and untrue things, of trying to overthrow an elected official and wage a, quote, war. Since I received that letter, the word war has taken on a whole new meaning. But please know that I love this country because we don't.
I have to point out that the courage of this woman right now is beyond inspiring. I mean, the courage of this woman, because you can see how scared she is. You can hear it in her voice. But she's more angry than scared because she's angry that she is scared. She shouldn't have to be scared. She shouldn't have to be scared of the very people that she is paying taxes to keep employed. She should not be afraid. And so she's angry. So it's incredibly inspiring to see that kind of bravery. Because I'll tell you, I'd be scared as shit. Like this right now, I mean, they're threatening a war. They put it in writing that they're threatening a war. The cops, the select board versus the people, versus the taxpayer. Threatening to expose things about them on the internet. I mean, this is classic intimidation. It's crazy to me. Like I never thought I would see this in real life. I mean, you see this shit in the movies. And you see this shit in movies that are nonfiction, that are biographical. Like in those movies, they take place in the 60s, the 50s. Shit doesn't happen today. This is insane to me.
Overthrow our leaders and we don't wage war on each other over town elections. Instead, we hold our elected leaders accountable by asking questions. And when we don't think those answers are enough, we do things like sign petitions for town meetings. But the accusations and threats by an anonymous sender that threatened to hurt me, my family, and people we know made me swear to people I love that I was going to step back from this microphone even when it opens up again. But I find myself here because I still believe in the democratic process and in talking through issues face to face, even when we're shaking and really, really scared, rather than threatening people behind closed doors. I've never done anything anonymously. Not a single post, not a single comment. I've come here and I've talked to you face to face and I've asked you to talk to me, and I appreciate when you have. I signed that petition because I think that our town needs to come together and talk face to face. We need to ask questions and we need to listen to the answers, and we have to hold our leaders, ourselves, and each other accountable for our actions. I expect that the meeting will be extremely challenging, and that's why I came. I don't take democracy for granted. In fact, there's one thing that letter said to me that I have to state because I agreed with it. It ended with, "You have a decision to make. Can't wait to hear what would be more important than your own families." Peaceful living peaceful living is a privilege.
What?
You have 3 minutes is up, miss.
And I completely agree with that.
Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. I run the meeting. I will control it. No, 3 minutes.
Wow.
3 minutes. No.
Get him. Get him.
Finish it up.
I have one more sentence.
I said the ground rules, and we're gonna have an orderly meeting here. So if anyone yells, I will ask you to leave. You understand?
Mr. Conley,
Crisis. This is a crisis.
I actually need to say
It's
this to my
absolutely
own
a
children
crisis.
who live in this town, because they're going to be horrified that I'm up here. And the last sentence, when it said, "Can't wait to hear what would be more important than your families," I want my family to know that I am here tonight because I want them to live in a place where they are.
Hell yeah.
And make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion's been made and seconded. We adjourn the meeting at 8:43. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Thank you and have a good evening.
You know, Chicken Pop Charlie was like, "Yeah, I second that." Adjourn the meeting. I mean, this town meeting needs to happen. See, this is the thing, is this town meeting needs to happen. And the fact that people were threatened to not have it is all the more reason why they need to have it. It's all the more reason. Because now eyes are open. It's real important. Thought it was real important for young Jurks to share that. I thought it was even important for me to share it. Because that is the essence of what is wrong with the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe case. Okay? That is what's wrong with it. What's wrong with it is the process to getting justice for John O'Keefe. And that is what is demanding. That is what these people are demanding. And it's not a lot to ask. It's not an unreasonable thing to ask for. And for whoever wrote that letter to say something like living peacefully is a privilege. No, living peacefully is a right. It is a right. And here's the thing, because I suspect it was a cop who wrote that letter. And if this cop can hear me, I'd like to say something directly to them. Living peacefully is not a privilege. It is a right that is purchased and pays you to ensure that peaceful living. You are peacekeepers by definition. Law enforcement are peacekeepers. You are being paid to protect and serve those people and keep them safe so that they can live peacefully. It is not a privilege. It is a right that you are being paid to preserve. Now, I'm going to go and check out something else here. That this is just in contrast, because the thing is you got to understand the difference. I'm getting a lot of like hate messages from people, and really not that many, but a few. But I'm getting a few hate messages from people for defending Karen Reed and defending Turtle Boy and comparing Turtle Boy to other tragedy pimps, hence the thumbnail. Now, I want to show you the difference in how, in people who want, the people who attend these town meetings, these select board meetings, and people who attend them just to be pains in the asses. I find it really funny. Now, real quick, hold on. Let me I gotta find it. Find it. All right. Oh. I was looking under the wrong creator. Sorry, guys. So this is courtesy. I got to remember to put blank screens. I got to remember to put blank screens channel in the description, but here is his video. If you guys could take a second and give it a like, just head over there. Here's the link to it and give that video a like. But this is fun. This is in Manatee County, Florida, where old Bullhorn Betty lives. Okay. And one of the things, now, one thing you guys got to understand is, if there's one word that I would use to describe BHB, it is a Karen. Even a professional Karen, one might even say, because she considers what she does a living. So she'll show up to these town meetings because she knows they're being streamed, and this is just her way of looking important and feeling important, even though she's not doing anything important. She just knows that she's being, loosely televised in some way, shape, or form. It's just really funny. To feel like she's got some sort of relationship with the people who run her town. Just take a look for yourself. This is the opposite of what we just watched, folks.
Andrew Griffin, Manatee County resident. So a couple things. My drum beat. Phones, and phones. Where's James Thatcher? Is James on the phone? Okay, he's not on the phone, but we need phones. Also, I noticed that we do have an item 42 for Third Avenue, but that's on the consent. But I was here a few months ago talking about a stripe on 3rd Street and 53rd Avenue. And so far, there's been several more accidents out.
She's talking about a stripe. This is clearly someone who just looks for things to complain about at these meetings so that she could be on camera, so that she could say that she is an active member of her community. But she's not. She's talking about a stripe on the road, folks. Okay. Now, we just listened to people who were complaining about being threatened by law enforcement if they managed to exercise their democratic rights. Okay. Now, compare that to this.
Out there. I've almost been hit head on going around that corner several more times, and still no stripe and no information. And then this young lady here is talking about wetlands, which I was unaware of until just now, about us reducing our wetlands from 50 to 15 feet. Now, I don't know. That just doesn't seem right to me. That seems almost developer-y like. And that's where I start having heartburn, especially seeing a new commissioner here I've never seen, and that's redo about wetlands, which I was unaware of until just now, about us reducing our wetlands from 50 to 15 feet. Now, I don't know. That just doesn't seem right to me. That seems almost developer-y like. And that's where I start having heartburn, especially seeing a new commissioner here I've never seen in a BOCC.
Okay. So she's complaining about the wetlands being reduced from 50 to 15 feet. Okay. Now, she doesn't have any basis as to why this is a problem. She has nothing. There's no basis whatsoever as to why this is an issue. She's just finding a reason to complain. And she's proving it by saying that her sole reason for it is she finds it kind of developer-y. She said that shit out loud. I don't know if you heard it twice, but she said that shit out loud. Like, it seems kind of developer-y. She's bitching about wetland, yes. And a stripe that's not on the road because she's been hit almost head on. I don't think they're going to do anything about that stripe. I don't think they are.
BC meeting or in a GOP meeting. So I have some concerns here that I would like to address. Mr. Turner, it's nice to meet you. My name is Andrew Griffin, and I hope to meet you in the future, and I'll be back.
Of course you do. But she's not done.
First and last name, your county of residence, and you have 3 minutes to address the board on a consent agenda item.
Andrew Griffin, Manatee County. So I know you guys are talking.
She's sick of even hearing her own name there. Even she's sick of hearing her own name said out loud at these meetings. Like, listen to that shit.
First and last name, your county of residence, and you have 3 minutes to address the board on a consent agenda item.
Andrew Griffin, Manatee County. So I know you guys are talking. I know you guys had an opportunity to pool consent, but there's just a couple clarifications on here. I agree with Glenn on 33. I'm sorry. I want to know what the heck happened here and how we failed and why we're here now. This I'm sorry, it's not $50,000. We're talking about almost $1 million here. And that might be chump change.
I love the dudes that are sitting behind her who could not give less of a fuck about what she has to say.
Change to some people on this board, but I can tell you from my perspective, this gets me hot under the collar, and somebody needs to answer for this. And I'm sorry, somebody needs to answer. This is not something for consent. This is not something for your consent just to push under the frickin' rug. And no,
under the frickin' rug
needs to be pulled, and there's either needs to be something done with this. I'm sorry. 11, I think this is great that we're going to be meeting with Longboat Key. My problem is with this is that it's so vague. I don't know what we're meeting with them for. It just says mutual benefit. What mutual benefit is that? What kind of discussion? Nothing is explained in this. So, you know, for somebody like me, if I'd like to attend, if I'd like to be a part of it, I just don't know where this, you know, what is going on with Longboat Key and what the need for this special meeting is. I'd like some clarification on that. And then 42, I think I addressed in my future agenda. I see that this is going on over in Manatee Avenue area, but the one issue that is dangerous in my community that I care about is not being addressed. So
it's because nobody
any
gives a
help that you
fuck
can do
about
would be
you.
great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
She had not. Now, here's another. I want you guys to see. Now, this person's channel is in the description. And this is by a dude named Menace to Sobriety.
Seeing a child.
And Menace to Sobriety makes great videos. Now, this is a case of a missing little boy named Michael Monkey Vaughn. His mom is pretty active on social media. But they uh-oh.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
Calamity Jade, thank you. Developery. I don't think developers are building townhouses on 15 feet of wetlands. Auto accidents while she was live and driving. Right. Great point. When she does that, she streams, she drives and she streams, and you see her like driving and messing with stuff and going, and looking at chat, and you're just like, oh my God, look at the road. It's insane. It's insane. Now, this is in regards, this is a video by Menace to Sobriety, and this is in regards to a missing person's case. A little boy disappeared right around the same time as Summer Wells, actually, and very similar circumstances too. Very similar circumstances. But his mom has been pretty active on social media. A very sweet lady, and I've never actually covered the Michael Vaughn case. I've been wanting to do a video on it, and I want to. I have not covered it, but I should. I feel like I should, because I did follow it, and it's a very sad case. And you know, his parents, they just break my heart. Now this is Bullhorn Betty's way of dealing with missing children. We've already seen how she handles the Summer Wells case. Now let's take a look at this. Now, I gotta say that was a really beautiful little tribute to him that he put at the beginning of this.
Look at Don and Candace Wells, and look at Brandy Neal. Look what a real a parent of a real missing child looks like. We used her almost as
Let's hear. I gotta hear how she worded that again. Hold on.
Look at Don and Candace Wells, and look at Brandy Neal. Look what a real a parent of a real missing child looks like. Look what a real a parent of a real missing child looks like. Look what a real a parent of a real missing child looks like.
Okay, so look what a parent of a real missing child looks like. So wait, so Michael Vaughn is missing, but Summer Wells is not? Is that what you're implying here? What does that mean? I mean, it goes to show when people word things like this, it goes to show what they're in this for and how they look at missing people. They don't look at missing people like they're actually people, even if they're children. This is the difference between a tragedy pimp and someone who actually cares about justice. Okay? Because a tragedy pimp doesn't humanize these missing people or murdered people. They exploit them. Now, to word something like that and not be very careful, because even if she just misspoke, it's incredibly disrespectful to not even correct yourself, because it shows that it's just something else to talk about. That's what someone like Summer Wells or Michael Vaughn is to her. That's not the parent of a real missing child. Like the Summer Wells case, it's more about the case than it is about Summer, because that's the way she's looking at it. A real missing child, meaning she's talking about the case and talking about the fuckery that goes on with the Summer Wells case, because there is a lot of fuckery. But decent people don't forget that it's about a missing 7-year-old girl who's been missing since she was 5. So it's really sad, you know. It just blows my mind that people compare people like this to Turtle Boy. You know, like, I get Turtle Boy is aggressive. I get it. But his heart is, I'm not seeing any indication that his heart is not absolutely in the right place. I'm not seeing any indication of that. And all these people get the benefit of the doubt from me. They do. Every single person. She got the benefit of the doubt from me from the very start until I saw, well, wait a minute. And then I looked and she just kept on doing what she does. Same with JLR. I mean, these are not people who actually care. These are people who see true crime as nothing more than a genre, and that all of these cases are simply stories that the real people involved are simply characters to them in those stories. And that's a very dangerous way of looking at things, especially when there's someone missing. And especially if you're always making the assumption that that person is dead when there's no evidence that they're dead.
We used her almost as the poster child of what a grieving parent missing a child should be doing and acting. She just basically said she was nervous to meet me, you know, because she had heard such horrible things about me, which again are not true.
Okay. Are not true, except we go over all of the horrible shit you do all the time. It's not hearing horrible things about me, which are not true, yet the evidence is absolutely there. Now, it gets better, folks, because that statement from her is golden. It gets better.
She was terrified. People had her so nervous that I was going to be out there. So they had this woman terrified, absolutely terrified. Bullhorn Betty's coming to town and she's bringing her bullhorn. it was starting to get to the point where I was starting to believe that Brandy and Tyler could be responsible for the disappearance of Michael Monkey Vaughn.
Now, real quick, let me pull something else up here. All right. Now, we went over this before, but just so you get some context of what she's talking about, she's saying that Brandy Neal was so scared of Bullhorn Betty coming out there with her bullhorn. She was definitely against it. Now, pay attention to this. This is what she said about it.
I look like
this is Michael Monkey Vaughn's mother.
Sorry.
You look like beautifulness.
Thank
To
you.
be honest.
You know, we talk about lurkers, right? Lurkers in the back and everything like that. Imagine them outside of your house every minute and a half. Wow. I need a favor.
Yes.
Some of these YouTubers that are contacting potential suspects.
What? Oh my fucking God. I'm sorry.
I missed what was said.
Stop. You have no right. This is my son. You have no right. Stop it. You are not law enforcement. And what you're doing is you are hindering Michael's case. Stop it, please. And to support law enforcement. No, don't be contacting these people, please. You don't know the damage you can do to a case. Please.
Now, she was just singing my song, basically. This is stuff that I've said a million times. The difference is, and there's a vast difference, saying the same things, but that's coming from the mother of a missing child who's begging YouTubers to stop exploiting their children. And it's a serious problem. And you know it's a serious problem when the mother of a missing child pleads on YouTube to stop doing it. So, yeah. So on November 14th, 2022, Bullhorn Betty called and aired a phone call to the sheriff's department requesting info about the alleged arrest of a suspect in the disappearance of Michael Monkey Vaughn. The family hadn't yet been notified of the arrest. Now, this turned out to not be connected to the case, but there were rumors flying around that it was, because it was from that area. So there were rumors flying around, but this was not an arrest made in that case. Goes on to say, at this time, the family still held on to hope what they would find their missing child safe and healthy. That was until Betty tragedy pimped the case of their little boy.
Yes, can you provide me what the current charges are for a Stacy Wondra and a Sarah Wondra?
Stacy has not been arrested, it's like Sarah.
Okay, and what's her charges?
Failure to report death to law enforcement and coroner.
All right.
That's all it is.
Thank you very much.
VHB called police to find out charges on that Sarah person, and they told her he made false to them about putting information also. Wow.
That is false. That is false. That is not true.
Yeah. So Brandy was in a chat and someone read the comment, and then Brandy heard this while she was a guest on someone's panel, and she was like, no, that's not true. Because of course she would know before Bullhorn Betty would know. Of course she would know. And she should know before Bullhorn Betty does. And if you were to find out before the parent does, then what you do is you sit back and you wait for law enforcement to confirm that information publicly. That's the ethical thing to do. But these people, they want to be the first, you know. This is how you always know the tragedy pimps, man. They want to be first with it. They want to say, oh, breaking. And they have no verification of this. And there's no facts to back it up. And so what they end up doing is jumping the gun and going live and then spreading what turns out to be a rumor that gets to the parents, which is exactly what happened here. And she was wrong about it. And so you imagine this mother who has a missing child, and you imagine her, and she is all of a sudden hoping, this entire time she's been hoping that her little boy is going to be found safe, and that now she's hearing that there was an arrest made in connection, and the charges are failure to report a death to law enforcement or a coroner. And so automatically this parent thinks that their child is dead. And she had to hear this from the likes of a tragedy pimp on YouTube. So, I mean, if you're not disgusted by this, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And it turned out to not even be true. Can you imagine your heart sinking from 1 minute, just having all this hope, and then hearing a rumor that your child is dead? And even just hearing that, even if it's not confirmed, it's tearing you apart inside. I can't imagine how it wouldn't.
Hey, Brandy.
So it's not a lie. The yard that they're digging up right now, the woman is being charged with not reporting the death of a child.
Oh, honey.
Medicine sobriety doesn't mince words.
And thank you for putting that out on the internet before our family was informed, because they were trying to protect us and they're trying to tie the case together. So thank you so much for putting that out there before they could tell us. Thank you. You have no idea what you've done to our family right now. You have no idea.
No. Cheesy Wheezy, no. I'm not saying that it wasn't true. I'm saying that it wasn't Michael Vaughn, is what I'm saying. It wasn't Michael Vaughn. It wasn't connected to her case. So here she is thinking that her child is dead. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, I'm always going to cover Betty because I feel responsible because like I'm grateful for how much my channel has grown. And I have this new audience, but it's important to me to make more people aware of people like Bullhorn Betty, and especially making the discernment between people like Bullhorn Betty and people like Turtle Boy. And when you have a community who is demanding the very same thing that he is, and a lot of it was due to his investigating, well, then you can't compare the two. Oh, Scott McGinnis, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's important that people know the difference. And if I can use my platform to educate people on that difference, I'm going to do that. Now, let's take a minute. Let's look into this active shooter situation. Because this absolutely concerns me. Hold on.
Happened early enough that
Now
there are
this
likely
is
kids
in Maine.
who are awake to see this on the TV. So please,
Oh my God, 22 people.
Keep an eye on them. Lewiston Public Schools announcing just well over an hour ago now, I guess, that school will not be in session tomorrow. That's Auburn. Yep, as well as Auburn. The superintendent releasing a statement to please continue to shelter in place. Of course, the Lewiston superintendent will continue to update you with information and next steps. Saying our prayers go out to those who lost someone tonight. Our prayers go out to all those working to stop further loss of life. So again, several schools in the area, not just Lewiston, Auburn as well. I think there's some others coming in.
Even extending out, we know Mechanic Falls has closed, Poland, Brunswick, Gray New Gloucester. We heard earlier from Central Maine Community College, that's the college there in Auburn. They were saying that they will be closed tomorrow, and they are very aware of the situation. Earlier, Bates College was actually in lockdown. We heard from officials there. Still very much active in that area.
Yeah, and obviously,
he's
this
still
is a situation that again is not just impacting.
He's still active. They haven't caught him yet. So as far as I know, I'm a little behind. There's other channels covering it right now, but
Lewiston, it's impacting all of these communities.
just for the sake of keeping up with it myself and hanging out with you guys, I'm going to stay on, and we're going to just kind of go through it.
And when you're talking about schools, one of the largest school districts in the state, Bonnie Eagle, even releasing a statement that they haven't decided whether or not to hold classes tomorrow, but they are awake right now. School leaders across the state really trying to make sense of this, making sure that students and families are supported as we're all trying to make sense of what happened in Lewiston tonight. Just to reiterate for you, at least 22 people killed in an active shooting in Lewiston. This is the man police are looking for. If you know who he is, if you've seen him, please give police a call. This is Robert Card. Police are considering him a person of interest in that shooting at Schmenge's Bar and Spare Time Recreation earlier this evening. They still have not been able to apprehend him. They're also looking for this white car here. They say there's a black bumper on the front. They're trying to...
Of course, Sean Pellegrino. I mean, these people don't care about facts, dude. JLR does not care about facts. Bullhorn Betty does not care about facts.
Trying to locate Card, and they say he should be considered
That's a perfect example. It's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. They will go because they want to be the first. They want to be the first to deliver the news and say, you heard it here first, folks. They want to be that so bad that they don't give a shit about facts. Like, you're not a fucking journalist, dude. You know what I mean? You don't have contacts, you know, like you don't have law enforcement contacts in Maine that you can confirm this shit with before anybody else. You're just going to have to wait till it's confirmed by a reputable news source and then report on it. That's what you're going to have to do as a YouTuber. It's just simple. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that serious either. I mean, the thing is, man, like, I'm not up here because I'm going to be the first to talk about something. And I talk about a lot of the same things that a bunch of other people are talking about. But people watch me. The same reason that they watch other channels is not because they expect to get the information quickly and fast and before anybody else. They just want to hear that creator's perspective on it. That's it. I mean, that's okay. You know what I mean? That's perfectly okay. Why are you going out of your way to try to be the first just to misinform people? I would never take the chance of misinforming people. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a gamble, you know?
To see this car, if you happen to see Card himself, do not approach this image believed to be Card earlier this evening.
Holy shit.
To Spare Time Recreation. Definitely a hard security footage to watch there.
Very disturbing
Holy
to see,
fuck.
but very important to see as well. And we know our Jack Molmid has been live outside of Central Maine Medical Center. We also have someone outside of Maine Medical Center in Portland, where they're expecting at least one patient, they told us, is going.
See, assholes like this, and this is going to piss some people off, but you can't deny it, okay? You cannot deny it, because this is a cold, hard fact. Assholes like that are the reason why there are gun control laws. That's it. Now, being an independent, but with certain things you could classify me as a libertarian, I don't like gun control laws. I don't. You know? But it's dickheads like this that get those laws passed. It's dickheads like this that want people who are pro-gun control to have an argument. Because this is the argument. This guy right here is the argument for gun control. Really annoying. Like, it's so irritating.
Going there, and just to put into perspective how much this is affecting our hospitals here, that they even said, out of an abundance of caution and due to the dynamic nature of the situation, Maine Medical Center and other Maine Health hospitals have closed their campuses to non-hospital personnel and non-patients until further notice. So, you know, people can't even go to visit loved ones who are in the hospital right now. This is very much affecting our, you know, and we know our hospitals prepare for these things. Absolutely. We know our police prepare for these things, but this is such a widespread.
I mean, how do you really prepare for that?
I don't think anyone can really be ready for this.
Absolutely, and I think we have that shot now of the podium in Lewiston City Hall. Our reporters and several other reporters from across the state have been kind of stationed there, awaiting a press conference from state police. I imagine other local officials, likely the mayors of Lewiston and Auburn, are there. Perhaps even the governor likely to speak. You can see microphones there from news organizations across the state there at Lewiston City Hall. And as soon as that press conference gets underway, we will be sure to bring it to you. Alex Haskell standing by there.
And just to reiterate what's going on here, active shooter in Lewiston, and the areas of focus have been Schmenge's Bar and Grill on Lincoln Street. And
Now, how many of you all live in Canton? Like type of 1, if you live in Canton or near Canton, if you're part of that community, type of 1. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that. But now, let me word it like this. Don't type whether you agree with me or disagree with me. But I'll bet you anything that if cops are the people that you're afraid of right now where you live, and you are signing this petition for a town meeting, and you and the cops are the people who you're afraid of right now, I'll bet you anything that the majority of you feel better about carrying a gun. Guaranteed. Now, like I said, don't type in here if you agree with me or not, but that's how I imagine it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I imagine it. Because you're being threatened by armed people. You know what I mean? Now, there's no indication to me that anybody plans on doing anything. There's no indication that anybody has gotten to this level of fear. But it's speaking volumes that at this point, these people are publicly assembling and saying, we demand better and we want a town meeting because we're being threatened and I'm scared. I mean, where does it go? You know what I mean? Where does it go? Like, there's a threat with people's names on it saying, if you care about your family and you don't have the right to, living peacefully is a privilege that we extend you. You only have peace here because we allow it. That's got to be incredibly frightening.
And spare time recreation on Mollison Way. They're about 4 miles apart. And at this point, we know that at least 22 people have been killed. That's what NBC News is telling us. You can bet a lot more people have been injured. We know the hospitals are dealing with all of that. And we have reporters in various locations. There was police activity happening in Lisbon Falls. Our Hannah Kumler was there. Our Sam Olson is around Birch Street in Lewiston. She said about 50 or so police are at a staging area there. So we're certainly keeping an eye on what's going on. But again, this all remains very, very active.
Let me explain myself a little better too, in order to just piggyback off of my last thought. You got to think of the location of where this is, where the idea of liberty and gaining that liberty through means of even revolution. Okay, this is where all of this started. This is where the Boston Tea Party took place. You know, this is where all of this started. So knowing that, and also knowing that the Second Amendment was literally designed to have the means is to provide the people with the right to have the means to protect themselves from tyranny. Is it not tyrannical what's going on right now in Canton? Just think about that.
As police from multiple agencies, state and federal, it even seems now, are trying to track down this man. Take a look at your screen. Robert Card, he's 40 years old. He is the person police say opened fire at Spare Time and Schmenges earlier this evening. And this is really having an effect on all across the state. Congressman Jared Golden, who is from Lewiston, represents District 2, sharing a statement saying, like all Mainers, I'm horrified by the events in Lewiston tonight. This is my hometown. Right now, all of us are looking to local law enforcement as they gain control of the situation and gather information. Our hearts break for those who are affected, and we encourage everyone to follow the directions of the authorities as they conduct their work.
Also, Congresswoman Shelley Pingree saying, I am aware of and have been briefed on the active shooter situation in Lewiston. I urge all people in the area to follow the direction of state and local enforcement, which they have been saying, please shelter in place, lock your doors, stay off the roads, let them. Clearly, they've been very active in Lewiston and in Lisbon Falls. So just let them have reign of the roads and where they need to be, but definitely lock your doors.
Yeah, I know. And Whitey Bulger, man, like the guy operated with impunity for years because he was an FBI informant. Think about that. Like it's just there's something. It's just not unreasonable and unrealistic to think that there's corruption in Canton. I mean, it's just that simple, you know. Like I understand because like a lot of places who really just don't really do their homework and they don't really know any better. A lot of places will say, "Oh, well, that's paranoid. There's no conspiracy. There's no corruption. There's no conspiracy within the corruption. You know, you got a tinfoil hat on. You're totally paranoid. That makes no sense." But when you think about the history, it's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. Yeah, he absolutely had a license to kill. Whitey Bulger had a license to kill right there. Like it's not so paranoid and crazy to think when you have means and reason to consider something like a conspiracy a possibility, because they do happen. Conspiracies do take place. I'm not sitting up here talking about the CIA and the crack epidemic in the 80s. I'm not saying anything about that. It's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is something that we know has taken place in this city. and now it's paranoid to think that it's happening now. I mean, really?
Yeah, I want to actually see if we can pull up some video because I want to focus on the human element of this. Jack Moment was at Central Maine Medical Center. I believe we have some video there. There were families kind of gathered outside the door. You can see even inside the hospital, it looks like they're staging hospital beds in what appear to be hallways, just because this is such a large situation for them to respond to. Family members there just waiting to hear the news, communicating with what appears to be maybe hospital staff, going through perhaps names of victims. These families just absolutely likely heartbroken, anxious. Jack even said some he spoke to were angry about what happened tonight. And to see that many people just swarm around a hospital in the state of Maine is not something we've ever seen before.
Never, never. And do we have the sound queued up, guys? I know Jack had spoken with a woman who was just waiting to hear word on her son.
A little
All
freaked
right.
out. I want.
I've got some information here. Thank you, Cherry. I've got some information here on this Mr. Card. Breaking from CBS News, Maine Law Enforcement Bulletin. Maine State Police is attempting to locate Robert Card as a person of interest regarding a mass shooting incident in Shemigi's Bar and Grill restaurant and the Spare Time Recreation in Lewiston. Card is a trained firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve stationed out of Saco, Maine. According to law enforcement, Card recently reported mental health issues, including hearing voices and threats to shoot up the National Guard base in Saco. He was also reported to have been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks in the summer of 2023. Last known to be operating a white Subaru Outback with a black bumper with Maine plates. Okay, that's disturbing. All right. That's really disturbing. So I'm going to read that last part one more time. According to law enforcement, Card recently reported mental health issues, including hearing voices and threats to shoot up the National Guard base in Saco. So, and he was committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks in the summer of 2023. Now, that, of course, tells me that we need some real reform in our mental health treatments, because how do they not catch that? I mean, how do you not? I mean, if he's threatening to hear voices, or I'm sorry, he's hearing threatening voices. Sorry. I mean, and they committed him for 2 weeks. I mean, that kind of delusion, I think, needs more care than 2 weeks of inpatient treatment. Inpatient treatment, I mean, the whole point is, like, if you're a danger to yourself or others, they can hold you there against your will until they feel that you're safe to be out in public. And I don't see, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a mental health professional, but I don't see realistically in any universe where 2 weeks is going to cure somebody of those very dangerous thoughts. And he's in the Army National Guard, so he's threatening to shoot up his base, to shoot up other armed members of the armed forces. And I agree with Petty Patty. People like this, he should not have been allowed to carry any firearms. I mean, he had an assault rifle in his hand. Why does he have that? Now, if you want one bad enough, here's the reality of the situation, folks. If you want a firearm bad enough, no matter what kind it is, you can get it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that are illegal that you can get. They're not that hard to find, not that hard to get. Okay? So if this guy was determined enough to execute this plan, well, then he's going to find a way to get it done. Make no mistake about that. But I do agree with you that measures should be taken just in case. Now, I'm not saying take away all of his human rights, but if he's hearing voices threatening to shoot up an armed forces facility, well, then he needs to not have a weapon. He should have been discharged for medical reasons, and he should not be allowed to legally purchase a firearm. Fair enough, Street Squirrel. Fair enough. I mean, right. He was a firearms specialist. This guy knew how to shoot. He was trained how to shoot. He's a firearms specialist. And so he's, I mean, he's going to find a way to get guns. He's going to find a way to get guns. It's just how that is. And that's not to say that he didn't get them legally either. I'm saying if he did, he shouldn't have been able to.
Want to know, you know what I mean? He's a young man. They shouldn't leave us hanging like this. Just tell us. I feel so bad for his wife. I mean, my kid, I don't know what's going on with him.
Wow. So just that sheer panic, I can't even begin to fathom what those families are experiencing tonight.
Yeah.
I believe we have News Center Maine's Hannah Kumler joining us now. She's live in Lisbon Falls, where there's a lot of police activity there. Hannah, what are you seeing?
Right. Discharged and taken care of. Agreed. And I want to elaborate on what you're saying here in case people don't get it. Like, he should have been discharged. And even honorably. That's not his fault. His mental health issues are not his fault. So, you know, for medical reasons, discharged with an honorable discharge, I would imagine would have been appropriate, and make sure that he gets the help that he needs. Make sure that he has medical benefits moving forward. You know, but, you know, unfortunately, because of people like this, these gun control laws are necessary. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, at least that's my opinion anyway, because I don't think that this guy should have been legally allowed to purchase a firearm. Now, maybe he purchased them illegally. Maybe he stole them. Who knows? I don't know how he got the guns, but there's a live press conference. Okay. Thank you so much. Calamity Jade, member for 19 months. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let me see if I could find that press conference. Oh, okay. Cherry sent me the link. All right.
And very forthcoming with information. So I would expect if we have additional information, we'll be happy to come back and share it with you. I know that from the city of Lewiston standpoint, probably going to close City Hall after this briefing and probably move everybody out. But again, we appreciate your partnership and your patience. I would offer to take questions just so you know that I probably won't have answers. And as long as you know that going in, there's no disrespect intended in that. Feel free to ask a couple, and if I think we can get there, then I'm happy to answer those. If not, we do have work to do on behalf of our communities, and that's our primary focus this evening.
There are many specific figures about casualties out there. Sheriff Sampson told me up as many as 20. I just want to give you the opportunity to set the record straight on that.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And I know that there's been a lot of numbers out there. This is a very fluid situation. So the last thing I want to come up is give you a number and then 3 hours from now, change that in one direction or another. So I don't have firm numbers on that. And when I do, we'll be happy to share those with you, because it's an important piece of healing and it's an important piece of information for all of us to be aware of. But I don't have a firm number on that.
But at least 16.
I think I just answered that question to say that I'm not going to give you any specific numbers. And there's been a lot of numbers all over the map all evening. And I don't think that that's helpful because it doesn't help family members. It certainly doesn't help the community to see, well, they just said this and they said that. So if you want accurate information, I'm prepared to give that to you when I have it. I don't have that right now.
Does the suspect have any known criminal history with law enforcement? Is he someone who's been on the radar of state police or local police, to your knowledge?
Well, Mr. Card, who we're speaking about right now, is a person of interest and a person of interest only, right? I'm not listing him as a suspect at this point, and we're not prepared to go into his background or anything else that we may be aware of. One more question?
You don't look for one shooter, correct?
We're looking for this person of interest right now, and that's what we'll label and list and speak about at this particular moment. When we have additional information, I'm happy to share that.
He's being very careful to word him as a person of interest versus a suspect. So there is still that very minute chance that it's not even him. But I mean, let's get real.
So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, thank you for your time. And I know Assistant City Manager O'Malley will make arrangements, I think, to move everybody out of the building. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. These are the flyers that we were mentioning, so feel free to grab those. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to start this over.
Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. We are moments.
No, I know they have him on video. But I mean, can you really tell that that's him necessarily? Like I said there's a minute chance. And the only reason I'm saying that is because he is being extremely careful to label him as a person of interest and not a suspect.
Moments away from what will be an update from officials in this Maine mass shooting. For those that are just jumping on with us here, who have not necessarily heard all of the specifics of what is going on, we now have updated to 22 dead, dozens injured in this mass shooting. Again, this, for those that had not seen these photos before, this is surveillance video from a bowling alley. This in Lewiston, Maine, the second largest city in Maine, about 40 minutes north of Portland, Maine. These photos showing the suspect with an automatic or semi-automatic rifle with a scope on it walking into that bowling alley. We are not knowing specifics as of right now, but what we do know, 22 confirmed dead. There were multiple accounts of potential shootings taking place. One at the bowling alley that you are seeing here, the other one happening at a bar and grill nearby. The entire town of Lewiston, the entire towns around it have been put on lockdown. That lockdown is still yet to be lifted. We bring you back now live to City Hall, Lewiston City Hall, where all of the reporters were told to go there, wait for an update from officials, and
Yeah, Grandmaster Sid Sophos. I don't know about that. I think you guys need knife reform. I think that's you guys need sharp object reform there, because there's just too many stabbings in England.
To stay there. They were placed on lockdown inside of that area. This, again, to prevent somebody from potentially confusing police, alluding to the fact, or trying to help them find who is responsible, which they believe, again, is this person in this photo here. We're now watching reporters put their microphones on stands, which is one of the areas that we've seen. Now there are various reports over potentially where the suspect is at the moment. We're still waiting on that to see officially, or to hear officially for this. The status of the shooter is number one, and this is paramount to understand exactly what is going on. What we are waiting for here is, I believe, I'm unsure if it's going to be the governor. There are going to be a couple of officials here, but you're seeing, oh, that just went, there we go. Okay, so we're going to switch back to this one now. As we wait, let me see if I can find a different shot here. We just lost that other one.
This is just crazy, man. Like, this is...
Let's take you live to a report.
People down in the Portland area tell me the life flights have been landing over at Maine Medical Center, and certainly some concern, but it's been more calm now because all of those loved ones over there were moved to a different location, not right inside the hospital entrance here, but a different location. Now, behind us is the main entrance, and that's where there are some ambulances staged across the street. There's multiple towns, 5 to 10 towns named, and some of the parents we talked to 2 parents whose sons were at the bar that Mal Meyer is at right now, and they haven't been able to get in touch with them last time I checked in with them, but we'll certainly be looking out for them tonight, and definitely thoughts and prayers to everyone that's involved right now.
All right, so let's go back now to the other shot that we had here. Just please hold for that to switch. Yep, that's this. We do have 2 shots. We have this one here and then this one here. I'd like to use that main one, but they have not put their microphones on. But they just did a mic check, so we're anticipating that potentially within the next couple of minutes, we can hear from officials. We can get updated on this. But again, the latest that we have is 22 dead, dozens injured. Still awaiting to try and find out exactly who this is. That is the suspected gunman. If they were brought into custody, motivation is very much so a question in a lot of these situations. But that is some sort of an assault rifle. It appears from the photos. Simply that person walking into a bowling alley is insane. Absolutely awful. We cover this.
Dude, I can't imagine
I've
that.
done way too many of these digital streams over the past few years, whether it's a children's school, whether it be a mall, whether it be a movie theater.
I mean, dude, like the one dude who went into the movie theater on opening night of The Dark Knight Rises, like that could have been me. Like I saw it the next day, because what happens is they do these midnight showings, right? So when a movie is supposed to be released on Friday, a movie theater will release the big budget ones, the huge ones. They'll be, they'll do it like Thursday at midnight. And that's what they did in Aurora, Colorado. I went and saw it. I went and saw that movie at 9 a.m. the next day. Like that's how many showings they were having at the theater where I went to in Atlanta. And I saw that movie at 9 a.m. I mean, because like I'm a big Batman fan, so I was just really excited about it. But I mean, I can't imagine just going to the movies, like I love bowling. I can't imagine. I mean, how many of those people were kids? And the crazy thing is, where I lived in Atlanta, if you worked in the service industry, you bowled for free on Wednesdays at the bowling alley right by my apartment. Like you bowled for free on Wednesdays if you worked in the service industry, any kind. I mean, so I was the GM of a Marco's Pizza, and it was just a way to like keep a team like attitude, get together, go bowling, have fun once a week, let loose. And because of that, we all worked together really well throughout the rest of the week. It was easy to get those people to work hard for me. And so, if you can imagine, there were so many people that would do this. So on a Wednesday night, it's not crazy to think that there's a lot of people at this bowling alley. I mean, and families and kids. I mean, we don't even have any number on how many of these victims were kids. This is the most heartbreaking thing in the world.
Theater, whether it be a bowling alley, whether it be a bar, whether it be a nightclub, the list goes on and on and on, and this is just insane.
Yeah, I can't imagine just going bowling and then somebody comes in with a gun, starts shooting everybody.
Another press conference. where we hope to learn how many people have been shot and killed in this. Confirmed already 22. At least 50 people injured is the report that we got, and that suspect still at large. Now, again, we have seen reports of potentially some activity in that. We are waiting to officially report on that. So for anybody that has any information on that, we understand that there are many reports going out there. We wait until it is multiple confirmed before officially saying it. We are watching our feeds courtesy of WMUR based out of Maine, who has been providing us the latest. We were under the impression that
I know Catherine Williams. I agree. I mean, my kids are adults now, but the the fact is, I mean, it's just simply more tragic when it's a child because they haven't had the chance to not be innocent anymore. You know what I mean? They haven't even gotten to that point in their life yet. It's not, you know, I'm not trying to minimize the fact that people were killed regardless of their age. I'm saying, you know, to not even have enough respect for a child's life is unimaginable.
That potentially an update could come from either officials from across the state or the city of Lewiston itself. Again, the city of Lewiston, the second largest city in the entire state of Maine, about 40 miles north of Portland, Maine. This is a city that is essentially the size of Westlake, excuse me, which is what we have used. 22 people dead, dozens injured in a city of about 30,000 in one incident is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. This happened shortly after 8 o'clock. That's where multiple locations were asked to go on lockdown as a result of a shelter-in-place called by the sheriff's office in Maine. The order was to stay inside of your homes. If you weren't near a home, find a place to be able to stay. Let's just listen in to see if there's any updates. All right, so still nothing there. The two locations where there was the reports of the shooting, one of them was called Spare Time Recreation, which is a bowling alley. The other one was Shemingy's, which is a bar and grill. It's a restaurant. The two were 10 minutes.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that had a hard time pronouncing that.
From each other. But that's where the reports were from, multiple reports of them. We're seeing now more photos here. I'll pull these up for you. These are courtesy of CBS. So this released from police in Lewiston, Maine. This is a car that is wanted in connection to the active shooting. This is the suspect who is wanted in connection to the active shooting with a semi-automatic rifle, according to CBS. Let's see if there's anything else here. There is not on that. Let me pull you off of this, and then I'll read off of the specific information. But the White House has been briefed on what they know so far. The FBI has been briefed on what they know so far, as has the Department of Homeland Security's secretary, also briefed in this. We have multiple angles of release.
Make no mistake. Yeah, Homeland Security, all of those agencies need to be involved in this because make no mistake, this is an act of domestic terrorism. I mean, there's just no denying that. Someone timed you out. I'm sorry about that, KB Investigates. But here's a song for you to make up for it.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think.
Okay. I hope Cock Church's dance made up for it. Thank you, KB Investigates. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if you got timed out. And it wasn't Cherry. We're gonna conduct an investigation. No, people get timed out. It's an accident when it happens. So I'm sorry.
Released the podium. We have nothing else. So the Maine governor has released a statement saying, quote, I urge all people in the area to follow the direction of state and local enforcement. I will continue to monitor the situation and remain in close contact with public safety officials. The office of Maine Senator Angus King said that he was deeply sad for the city of Lewiston and all those worried for their families, friends, and neighbors. Far too often, we have the quote-unquote thoughts and prayers. This is a small town, again, similar-ish in size to Westlake, Ohio. About 30, 35,000 people, somewhere between there.
Wow.
22 are dead. More than 50 are injured. Just an awful, awful situation to show you the impact this will have on such a small community. It appears that that reporter might be giving an update. We have that camera here. So if she does give an update, we'll bring that to you here, trying to get as much information as possible. I've been in this situation where you're at a breaking news spot and the newsroom's asking for a bunch of updates that you don't have.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's a really tough situation for the reporters who, especially in a situation like this, where you are told you need to stay in this city hall. You cannot leave. You cannot follow your leads. You cannot go anywhere to try and get any sort of assistance for your story. It's a hard day. That is a tough day. That is a very difficult area to be in. I'm going to pull off of that and show you a live look right now from one of the hospitals in the area. This courtesy of WGME, which is our CBS affiliate based out of the Maine area. We had seen gurneys waiting outside for people. Again, think about where this is. Think about the location. This is a small-ish city, similar in size to Westlake, in the 30,000s around.
I'm going to say I doubt it. Annie is okay.
There of people having to have outside of their hospital gurneys waiting for people either dead or alive to get off of an ambulance to be brought into the hospital. That is awful. That is inexcusable, and that is something that this community will never forget, as they are still on lockdown. We are still awaiting for an update, potentially, on the suspect in this. We do know from reporters they were told to stay in City Hall. They were told that they cannot leave. Wonder if that is still the case. The lockdown obviously is going to be incredibly telling to be able to find out what happened and if that suspect has not been found as of yet. Let's take you live to that reporter right now.
No updates so far. There seems to be some delay in this state police press conference, but we are hoping to gather more information when that happens later on tonight. But as you and Greg mentioned, the number one notice out there is shelter in place, and that's definitely true here at City Hall. Pretty much everybody inside the City Hall is a member of the press, and we are locked inside this building. And as we were driving up over here, a spokesperson for the city called me telling me to come to City Hall and shelter in place, asking me if I was okay, asking me when I was going to be here. And I think that just shows the level of fear that is out there on the street. People want you to get inside. They want you to stay safe. And they are very adamant that you are following that rule.
Again, not much of it in the form of an update from any of the press there. This update that we were expecting to get from officials, unsure again if it's supposed to be the governor or whoever it's supposed to be, this update was supposed to happen around 10 o'clock. We are very clearly now 40 minutes past that.
I mean,
so we're still waiting on that. Problem is, at least as far as us here at 19 News, so I'll need to be.
They got to be careful with what they say.
So what we're
know?
going to do is we will be leaving
Takes
this
time.
podium up if it does not start prior.
Maybe more
to
information's coming in.
Excuse me, our 11 o'clock newscast. But we are still in waiting for an update from Luke. Those
get to
for the moment.
Minimum. This is a polling place, and voters are concentrating their ballot. We are in Lewiston, Maine, in the City Hall chambers, down east, the heart of Maine.
He's just testing microphone levels.
Special issue: the LA Mainers never see. Checking 1, 2, 3, 4. Checking 8. How we doing? we okay? Bye. Oh, are we good? Thank you.
I really hate in situations like this when people try and be funny when this is clearly not a laughing matter. Okay, so that is a second update that we've had, audio update on this. Trying to see.
I mean, dude, calm your fucking tits, bro. Like, I mean, nobody's saying it's a laughing matter, but he's not laughing at. Calm the fuck down, homie. Like, Jesus. Like, everybody's upset about it. Sometimes people deal with traumatic situations with humor. It's just how that is. Relax, homie. Like, he's not laughing about anybody being dead.
Okay, so they're at a polling location. So at City Hall, which is probably a polling location for this smaller town. Again, 35,000 around there, people. Where were we? Okay, so we were talking about, so this is the car associated with this. We have multiple reports coming from various areas. We're waiting to kind of get confirmation, and that's the key here. I mean, people I understand are seeing videos and photos from across social media. That is unconfirmed. Until we hear it from officials, that is not confirmed information. So we are waiting for an official update to understand exactly what is going on.
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I didn't make that super chat song. Like, I didn't make that video. Somebody else made it. Someone else made it. And then it got sent to me. And I can't remember the name of the creator who made it. But they just made some really creative, like, dumb shit here and there, but didn't like have hardly any subs and just had like a few views on their but they were like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. So I don't want to take credit for making that video because I didn't make it.
Going on in this. Now we are getting very close to the beginning of our 11 o'clock newscast here at 19 News. So what we will most likely be doing, if they do not bring somebody out within the next few minutes, we will leave this up. And as soon as they get onto the podium, we will, of course, be able to bring you the latest in this. We are still awaiting updates. The stat,
bro.
The tax on tender, and again, all we talk now.
Today, Junior. You know what I wish they did? I wish they would give. I wish they would mic. Put up a mic where the press is, so that those of us watching can hear the questions coming from the press. Because a lot of times, like, you hear answers to questions, but you can't hear the questions. It's annoying. And I don't have this muted, so. There we go.
I better quit trying to split that gap because I keep kicking your sticks.
All right. Let's get this show on the road, yeah? I guess it was a really short press conference. Here we go.
Thank you for joining us here this evening. My name is Mike Sawchuk. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Public Safety here in Maine. We truly do appreciate your patience and your partnership as we work with all of our partners across the law enforcement spectrum at all levels, local, state, county, and federal, to address and investigate these violent crimes that occurred in the city of Lewiston this evening. As you know, this is an experienced group. We won't have a lot of Q&A here this evening. This still is very fresh. It's new. It's new for all of us. And our focus is on the investigation and getting this right the first time. And we're doing that with our partners. And we do appreciate you putting out information from time to time. Moving forward, we would appreciate it if you got that information from us so that we knew that it was accurate. And that is incredibly important for all of us from an investigative standpoint and from a public safety standpoint, that we have a unified front with this information as we release it. The delay in coming here with you now is simply because we have to confirm information from our end. We want to make sure the information we're giving you and the information that goes out to the general public is accurate. So we do have some information here that we will release. It is here on the podium. And this is a general caution to the public that approximately 6:56 this evening, a couple of shooting incidents occurred here with multiple casualties in the city of Lewiston. And police are currently searching for a Robert R. Card, 4/4 of 1983 of Bowdoin. Card is considered armed and dangerous. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward until that changes. If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way. The shelter-in-place order that currently stands in Lewiston remains. A vehicle, which was a vehicle of interest in this incident, was located in Lisbon, and we are now also asking residents in Lisbon to shelter in place. So please share that information with communities as well. If anybody sees Mr. Card or has any additional information reference to these two shootings in the city of Lewiston, please contact 911. If they see anything suspicious, please feel free to call their local authorities. We have literally hundreds of police officers working around the state of Maine to investigate this case, to locate Mr. Card, who again is a person of interest and a person of interest only. And we'll continue to gather information so that we can bring the suspect to justice and ultimately seek prosecution down the road. This release also includes a photo, which I believe I have seen from various sources. I would also let you know that we have created a reunification location, and that would be at the Auburn Middle School, so in the neighboring community of Auburn, at 38 Falcon Drive. Again, that's the Auburn Middle School. And when I say reunification center or location, what that means is that if somebody has a question or they have a concern, they can't find a loved one, they believe that a friend or a family member may be involved in what occurred here tonight in Lewiston, that they could respond to that location. We will have some of our behavioral health liaisons, counselors on site, and we'll also be providing information as it becomes available to us. As you can imagine, and as you know, there are multiple scenes in the city to include multiple hospitals, multiple follow-ups, a lot of witnesses we're speaking with, and a lot of leads. The general public has been very cooperative and very forthcoming with information. So I would expect if we have additional information, we'll be happy to come back and share it with you. I know that from the city of Lewiston standpoint, probably going to close City Hall after this briefing and probably move everybody out. But again, we appreciate your partnership and your patience. I would offer to take questions just so you know that I probably won't have answers. And as long as you know that going in, there's no disrespect intended in that. Feel free to ask a couple, and if I think we can get there, then I'm happy to answer those. If not, we do have work to do on behalf of our communities, and that's our primary focus this evening.
There are many specific figures about casualties are out there. The Sheriff Sampson told me up as many as 20. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to set the record straight on that.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And I know that there's been a lot of numbers out there. This is a very fluid situation. So the last thing I want to come up is give you a number and then 3 hours from now, change that in one direction or another. So I don't have firm numbers on that. And when I do, we'll be happy to share those with you because it's an important piece of healing and it's an important piece of information for all of us to be aware of. But I don't have a firm number on that.
But at least 16, right?
I think I just answered that question to say that I'm not going to give you specific numbers. There's been a lot of numbers all over the map all evening, and I don't think that that's helpful because it doesn't help family members. It certainly doesn't help the community to see, well, they just said this and they said that. So if you want accurate information, I'm prepared to give that to you when I have it. I don't have that right now.
Does the suspect have any known criminal history, law enforcement, of state police or local police to your knowledge?
Well, Mr. Card, who we're speaking about right now, is a person of interest and a person of interest only, right? I'm not listing him as a suspect at this point, and we're not prepared to go into his background or anything else that we may be aware of. One more question?
You know, look for one shooter, correct?
We're looking for this person of interest right now, and that's what we'll label and list and speak about at this particular moment. When we have additional information, I'm happy to share that. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, thank you for your time. And I know Assistant City Manager O'Malley will make arrangements, I think, to move everybody out of the building. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. These are the flyers that we were mentioning, so feel free to grab those. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you very much.
All right. Hopefully we get some more updates soon. I'm really hoping we get more updates soon because I hope that they catch this guy quick. That's extremely disturbing because this guy clearly has no he doesn't seem to have his bearings about him, to say the least, and he seems to just have no respect for human life right now at all. Yeah, this is, I mean, 22 people. So there's one more thing that I want to go over real quick. And now, all right. So this is a press release. A lot of you guys already know about this, but I'm gonna read it because it seems Turtle Boy has gotten himself an attorney, and I have not read this press release in its entirety. I usually like to do that as a reaction with you guys, but it says here. To select media outlets from the law offices of Timothy Bradle, I think, or Bradle, defense of award-winning investigative journalist Aidan Kearney. I like how they worded that. Aidan Carney, sorry, I keep mispronouncing Turtle Boy's name. So this was released on the 21st, and it says the law offices of Timothy J. Bradle is pleased and privileged to announce that we have been retained by Aidan Carney, aka Turtle Boy, in connection with the scurrilous prosecution mounted against him by the Norfolk County District Attorney. Attorney Bradle will represent Mr. Carney along with a talented team of investigators and forensic experts. Okay? So these people aren't fucking around. Okay? These people just simply aren't fucking around. Like, they plan on hiring legit investigators and forensic experts to disprove this case against Turtle Boy. It goes on to say, in unleashing an unprecedented retaliatory misguided prosecution, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and the Massachusetts State Police have opened up a new dark chapter in the annals of censorship and suppression of those on the front lines of investigating and criticizing the government. We call on the MSP and the NCDAO so admittedly halt this prosecution and bury these censorious tactics. We cannot allow the government to selectively weaponize criminal statutes to suppress the legitimate voices of its political enemies. Wow. Okay. That's a hell of a way to word this. Okay. Fighting back. They have trampled on Turtle Boy's civil rights, stolen his ability to earn a living, and upped the ante to new levels in the multi-front censorship war on the public's entitlement to good government and our right to know. This will not stand. To date, we have demanded that the MSP case or the MSP cease and desist any further searches until we can litigate the appointment of third parties to screen and protect Turtle Boy's privacy and unrelated sources. The special prosecutor has just agreed to halt the further pillaging of Turtle Boy's electronic devices until this point is litigated. We have appealed the district court's overbroad stay away orders to the Norfolk Superior Court. The hearing will be this week. We have demanded the return of Mr. Carney's phones and computers, the tools of his trade. We have requested early production of all search warrants, discovery, and exculpatory evidence. The pretrial hearing is set for December 5th. What is at stake here? Time-honored journalistic tactics aimed at getting to the truth cannot be twisted into felonies. Journalists cannot be arrested and their homes invaded when they discover and publish truths about government or its favored friends, find uncomfortable, inconvenient. When they find them uncomfortable and inconvenient. Investigating government corruption requires sharp tactics and relentless methods, all of which fuel the discovery of truth. The defense and preservation of freedom of speech should bring together patriots from all political corners to urge the Norfolk District Attorney and the state police to abandon these tactics, dismiss these cases, and apologize for their abuse of power. We intend to honor these principles by securing victory for Mr. Carney, which will be a victory for the First Amendment and for all of us. I mean, like, dude. I mean, like, dude. That's just. Wow. I mean, I couldn't have hoped for a press release in regards to that case worded better. I couldn't have hoped for that. That was fantastic. I want to know a little bit more about this guy. I want to know a little bit more about this guy. So, okay. All right. Should we look at his LinkedIn or just his website? All right. So let's take a look. So Anthony Timothy J. Brattle is a former Suffolk County Assistant District Attorney where he worked in Boston and throughout Suffolk County by investigating and prosecuting criminal cases. For many years, he served on the Suffolk County District Attorney's homicide unit and prosecuted murder cases. In addition to representing the Commonwealth in capital cases, he has handled appellate work before the Massachusetts Appeals Court and the Supreme Judicial Court. Additionally, Attorney Brattle supervised the prosecution of all motor vehicle deaths in Boston and Suffolk County and served on the homicide response team. I see what Turtle Boy's doing here. I see what you're doing here. Prior to his work on the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, Anthony Brattle had a civil litigation practice with a firm in Boston and a firm in St. Thomas, USVI. Attorney Brattle is a 1992 cum laude graduate of Suffolk University Law School, where he was a staff and editorial member of the Moot Court Board. Attorney Brattle is also a graduate of Boston College. Attorney Brattle is admitted to the bar in Massachusetts and New York. He is also admitted to practice before the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts. Since leaving the district attorney's office, Attorney Brattle has been engaged in private criminal defense practice throughout eastern Massachusetts. He works out of our Boston office. Okay. Wow. I mean, dude, this is the not fucking around lawyer, guys. So I see exactly what Turtle Boy's doing there. So this guy already knows his enemy. And that's not to say that they're his enemy. I'm saying he knows his opponent. Let's put it that way. Let's word that as opponent, not enemy, but opponent. He knows exactly the body of which he is going to be dealing with in this case. He knows who these people are. He knows who's dirty, who's clean. This guy knows everything. This guy was a fucking DA for Suffolk County. And he investigated motor vehicle homicides. Does that sound familiar? So this is the best guy to make a case for Turtle Boy, since everything that Turtle Boy is doing is for the sake of Karen Reed's case against her. Everything that he's being persecuted for is in the interest of that case and getting to the truth of that case. And so he has hired an attorney who is going to understand this better than anybody, and yet has experience as a defense attorney for as a criminal defense attorney in that county, after he had experience in prosecuting criminals in that county, meaning he had to work alongside with cops. He had to work alongside with, I mean, this is I see exactly what Turtle Boy is doing there. I mean, I can't think of a better choice, especially with that press release. That press release was chef's kiss. Beautiful. That was amazing. Because this is absolutely about the First Amendment. And this is absolutely about challenging your government when your government is behaving in a tyrannical manner. And that is exactly what Suffolk County seems to be doing right now. That is exactly what Canton seems to be doing right now. That is exactly what certain parts of the Boston state, or not Boston, but the Massachusetts State Police are doing right now. This is how they're behaving. So, I mean, this is a guy who's probably very passionate. There's probably a good reason why he decided, I mean, besides the money, to open his own practice and become a criminal defense attorney. There's probably substantially much more money in that. But besides that, I mean, this is a guy who is probably very passionate about getting justice. So yeah, I mean, I would imagine that this is the kind of case that he would be extremely excited to take on. Because obviously, because of the press, you know, you're going to get press. You know, lawyers like to get press. That's true. But besides that, he's going to enjoy defending a criminal who he knows to be innocent. who he knows is having his rights trampled over. And the way that they worded that, saying that his freedom to investigate and do his job is being twisted into felonies. I mean, that's exactly what's happening here. It's clearly what's happening. So the fact that this is going to be focused on, I mean, because this, by the sound of that press release, the vibe, the energy in that was straight up like an angry dog. Like, I'm coming after you. Like, you are not going to get away with this. Nobody's getting away with this. I'm going to expose the whole goddamn fucking show. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see what this guy can do. I was going to look at his, hold on. Let me see. Oh shit, I can't. All right, I'm looking at his LinkedIn. I mean, it basically all just says the same stuff that last thing I read just said. So he doesn't post much, doesn't look like. I mean, he posted this thing about British Marines testing jetpacks, which is pretty fucking cool. It's actually pretty cool. Like, look at that. Hold on. Look at that shit. Let me play it one more time. Look how cool that looks. I mean, what? Jetpacks, bro. Dope stuff. All right, guys, I think that's it for me tonight. I don't know when's the next time I'm going to go live. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm definitely going to stay on top of the active shooter stuff. So we'll discuss that. And there's a couple other things that I've been tossing around, thinking about going over. But obviously, any updates on either Karen Reed's case or Turtle Boy, then, you know, I'm going to discuss that stuff. But now, yeah, I think I'm going to try to go to Boston. I think I'm going to try to go to Canton. Very inspiring stuff. People there are very inspiring. And I commend them for standing tall for what's right. So they absolutely, that community has beyond my respect. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys hitting the like and subscribing if you're not already. I love you guys very much. And wait a minute. Turtle Boy has court 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll go live and we'll talk about what happens in court. If it's being streamed, I'll go over it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I love you guys very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.